No, it's Charlie's latest version, and then Lisa had some comments here as well.
And I just.
Great, thank you. Okay, we're on. Good evening, everyone. It is 6 p.m. on Monday, April 28th, 2025. This is a meeting of the Prudential Committee by Zoom and in person. We're meeting at Freedom Hall. I would ask that all who are able stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now take the roll. Mark Lynch here.
Fran Parks present.
Seth Burdick, present.
Okay. Go ahead.
You said it.
Charlie, the clerk, present. Pardon?
He said Charlie, the clerk, present.
Charlie, you.
Charlie Eager.
I see you.
Oh, okay. Public comment? Is there any public comments?
There's Ray.
Is there a chair?
I have a chair.
No. I said, no, not at all.
There are no hands raised.
There being no public comment, we will,
Matt?
please, if you come, to the front desk,
Sorry, I'm a little late.
no worries.
Patty Daly, Banfield Drive. I have two questions. One is I've looked through a prior warrant and I'm not clear on, and this is probably a great question, but in some instances we say transfer and appropriate, other warrant articles say borrow and appropriate, and other ones say raise and appropriate. And it looks to me like some of them passed by a majority vote and some by a required 2/3. So I'm trying to understand the difference.
If I may,
Please.
usually in a warrant, we leave all options open.
Mhm.
And then when we go to the script, we identify what is going to be borrowed and what is going to be raised and appropriate. In certain cases, it was requested that in the warrant, we identify what we were going to do. And this is in reaction to comments from the audience that the people were reading something that was different from the warrant. Obviously, they hadn't attended very many meetings because historically that was always the case. You put in the warrant, the three options, and then in the script, you identified which option was being put forth.
So when the warrant is published, the voters do not know exactly how
How
that
much is going to
votes.
be borrowed? That historically, that's what the case has been. In this year, in certain cases, it was requested that, not requested, but directed that the actual funding source be identified.
Okay, and so then my second request or question is regarding the article to demolish the elementary school. If there could be some clarity around whether that's a majority or 2/3 vote, that would be helpful.
No.
What?
It doesn't, we checked with district council and demolishing an abandoned property, which that is, does not require 2/3 vote. And actually, if it was district property that required approval, it would have to go to the state. So in neither, this does not have to go to the state nor require 2/3 according to district council.
Okay, so sorry, just to clarify, if I may,
Yeah, it does not require a 2/3 majority. But
because of the nature of the vote, but not the nature of the funding.
both.
Okay,
It is, there was some thought that some public entities have a requirement that they're gonna dispose of, quote unquote, dispose of property, it requires a 2/3 majority. This does not require that. Under our bylaws or any state regulations, we did seek, council's input on this. And we're not borrowing, which would also require a 2/3 majority.
Okay.
So it's a simple majority.
All right, thank you for that explanation. I appreciate that.
Yep.
And I have one request, and that would be that the citizen petition be put on the warrant ahead of a demolition vote request. Thank you.
No cheese.
Any other public comment, in person or by Zoom?
Hi, John.
All set?
I'm not seeing a live view of everyone and I have our camera on, so I apologize. Okay.
But as far as you can tell, there is no additional public comment.
That's correct.
Okay. We're gonna proceed then, to the next agenda item, which is meeting minutes approval. Our last meeting was April 21st, 2025. And I believe those meeting minutes have been distributed. I would ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'm abstaining. I didn't see them.
Okay, seconded.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
There are also, Ms. Haven had, distributed, an email March 26th, including a number of, meeting minutes, that we're catching up with. One was April 3rd, 2024. I would ask for a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There also was included in that same email, draft, meeting minutes for our meeting of March 25th, 2024. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
No, I don't think we can write down approving draft minutes.
Okay, they're all draft in my view until we approve them. But I didn't mean that in any other way. They're just unapproved meeting minutes. So could I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes for March 25th, 2024?
So moved.
I abstain, yeah.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Haven, if you could add those to our Kasuth Fire District
So I
website.
was doing tech stuff, if you do those dates, that would be great.
They are 4/21/2025, 4/3/2024, and 3/25/2024.
Thank you.
I would note that the audio presentation for the audio version of the Icon Architecture Katuitt School feasibility study presentation is now available online.
Actually, Mark,
Yeah.
I was able to post the video.
Perfect. So
It's on our website and it's on.
great. So the audio and visual of the 4/25/25 Icon presentation is online.
I only posted the video that does include audio.
Yes. Got it. We're saying the same thing. Okay. Fran had asked me to include on the agenda, the Katuitt Fire District website.
Well, at the moment, I can't, I've lost the link from on my computer, from the Google calendar that I use for rental, to the Freedom Hall calendar. It's not transferred to the Freedom Hall calendar for me, any computer that I use. So that needs to be, and I called, Pete a couple of weeks ago and basically said he was really busy. So, basically I'm using two computers to, do the task, and it's getting cold.
Less than ideal, for sure. Lisa helped me with directing me to someone who helped with, a similar project, or I'm not, should say, take that back. It's not a similar project. Another tech issue. Would they be of assistance to Fran?
No, Secure Networks handles our, it does not handle our website stuff, yeah. That's definitely a machine.
We should hire someone to take care of the website.
Yes.
That's what I think we should do.
And
I hear a lot about the website, but for $1,500 or $2,000 a year, we can have it all wholly maintained and operated by somebody who's a professional at this. If we have room in our, we could put it on the, where would it fall?
right, administrative, yeah.
So
And Charlie concur with that.
are we gonna leave it at, the problem that we had when Charlie and the other volunteers worked on the website, when they got to one, they made changes. The county wouldn't let them do it.
How come? Oh, when the county administered, it was like the host of the website, right?
They're still the host of the
Still.
website.
Does it have to be that way?
I don't know,
Or we just avail ourselves of the free services of the county or whatever? There,
wasn't there an attempt to leave the county, which was being unsuccessful?
Well, actually, it's not free. They're supposed to be billing us $600 a year.
Which they own,
And we've never heard from them. And it's,
well, like many things that the county undertakes,
so,
sounds like they're doing it halfway.
so they do the schools, and I believe they host all the towns, I'm not sure,
Right,
but,
We need to, right now, we've got a lot of balls in the air, but
Yeah.
as soon as we can play some of them down, I think we not only need someone to manage the website, we need to redo the website.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not,
it could be, as long as we are able to have that domain name, we can just take it all and do it all on the shot.
presumably.
yeah, presumably.
Do we,
Fran had asked me to contact them, and I apologize, I had not done that yet.
I've sent emails, I've made phone calls,
I actually spoke to them once.
oh, God.
Cloud's part of the,
Yeah, right, phone rang. So,
all right, do we have the money in our budget to get a new website? I do not think it is an expensive proposition at all.
well, it's not cheap. But we need to move to a different server.
Yes,
And,
It would be $5,000 or less. Sure.
that's what I think.
And if we could just. The warrant's not closed, we could make our operating budget $5,000 larger. Or it doesn't have to be an article in and of itself because it's under,
Yeah,
right?
yes. Okay. Seth, you're in charge of reminding us when we get to that.
Check.
Speak louder.
Louder.
I said to Seth that he's in charge of reminding us when we get to that article so that we can add $5,000, which is a little arbitrary, but
To what article I can.
To our operating budget.
he'll take care of it.
Okay.
Okay, the warrant article. I am working from an amended warrant that Charlie sent around at 4:34 PM today, which is the latest version of several. I'm gonna go through them one by one. Lisa, you noted that there were some corrections that needed to be made, and there are one or two that require some updating, even at this 11th hour. So, and of course, along the way, if anyone has any thoughts, concerns, whatever, please speak up. This relates to the annual election and district meeting, May 27th and 28th, 2025. The voting takes place between 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock on Tuesday, May 27th at Freedom Hall. And we will be electing one member of the Prudential Committee, one member of the Board of Fire Commissioners, one member of the Board of Water Commissioners, and a moderator, all for the terms of 3 years. The annual meeting will be Wednesday, May 28th, 2025, at the Katuitt Federated Church, 40 School Street at 7:30 p.m. Article 1. See if the district will vote to accept the reports of the officers and committees of the district for fiscal year 2023 and fiscal year 2024 as published. Any comments?
I have suggested splitting it into two, because we risk not, if there are some of the same problems with the fiscal year 24 annual report, which I wasn't given the opportunity to review, you guys have, that was risk also for the second year in a row not having fiscal year 23 accepted, which we have finished.
Yeah, I think we talked about this at our last meeting, didn't we? We decided that we had given a close reading to this year's and of course the last year's, and we were just gonna.
Well, there weren't any, I mean, there's no factual errors in the 2024 one that I noticed.
Well, I proofread it as well.
The main problem with the other one was people were saying they were factual, who were math-based errors, essentially, with 2023, right? I mean, we could split them up. I mean, does it make a difference? I don't necessarily think so, but.
There were spelling, grammar.
In 2024?
In 23.
In 23, yeah,
But
That we fixed.
we believe those have all been fixed.
right,
I say we just stick with
that's fine.
the current language. Do I need to read all these or can we review them? Is this something you can put on the screen or?
I'm sorry, I was prepared to do that. But it's an older version.
We read them all at the last meeting.
Yes,
There's been no material change, it's Scribner's, right? We didn't change funding amounts, though we would have had to change one funding amount for sure, wouldn't we?
yeah, there have been comments over the course of the day about items that need to be changed.
So the
Some-
one that I think of that's the most glaring one would be the demolition article, it has to go up by
Yes,
almost
but
$600,000, right?
yes, and there are others.
62, wasn't it? 1,862,000.
Something like that.
Okay, let's just go one by one. Article 2 is, let's wait till we get it up there.
I'll read some of them if you want me to.
I don't know if we need to read them out loud.
No,
Or if we just
look at them.
put them up on the screen and look at them.
Mr. Chairman, is there any way to put them on the screen? I don't know if anybody can read that.
We've had technical difficulties connecting with that, so
Can I move closer?
Sure.
Come on down.
Anybody who wants to move closer to be able to read this, we're not gonna read them out loud. Unfortunately, the people on Zoom have a better view than the people here live.
Can I make a,
Yes,
while you're reading them and going through them, should you make your recommendation at that time? Of each article?
Yeah,
yeah, we talking about recommendation, or are we talking about,
Recommendation.
The
Like the
Prudential Committee
actual
recommends this article.
oh,
if there's
yeah,
anything we don't like that we don't recommend.
is that what you mean, Charlie?
Yeah,
Okay,
Do we usually vote on the recommendation?
yes.
At the end,
At the end.
Yeah, vote on the whole warrant.
well, some of them we're not gonna recommend, how do we take care of that?
Not
You vote on the
saying
whole
not
one.
recommended by the Prudential
Well,
Committee.
I know, but my point is, how do we vote on all of them at one time if we're not going to?
So we say the Prudential Committee recommends.
You're just voting on the whole of the warrant, that this is what's gonna be on the warrant. You're not voting on each article.
No, but we're talking about the recommendation of each article,
Correct. And we do not recommend Article X.
right? Got it. You just add them. Or we say, we move, I move not to recommend article, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Article 2. So again, this language says raise and appropriate, or transfer and appropriate, or borrow and appropriate. And this relates to the funding of the firehouse renovation and expansion. I don't know why we're going to vote to do all of those. We are going to borrow that money, correct?
Yes.
Ray?
yes,
Okay. But that doesn't come around until we do the script.
Correct.
correct.
Okay, there's a huge difference in the number there, depending on whether we borrow or appropriate, but based on everyone's conclusion that we're going to borrow, not raise and appropriate.
Well, that's an interesting.
Just because it's always been done, doesn't mean it always has to be done.
So, yes,
Here's an interesting question that occurred to me. Since we're not bound by Proposition 2.5, what would it add to if you were to appropriate all that money in the tax levy? How much would that come out to?
The 1,000,000.
No, the 16,780,000.
Oh, 60, oh. Well,
But I know that's a wacky question, but because we can, unlike most municipal organizations in Massachusetts, we don't have to borrow the money. I'm just saying this for the sake of conversation.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
you'd be, right now, as I put together what I believe we're going to end up borrowing, et cetera, and that's, the tax levy is 21 million, and so you'd be adding, you'd almost be doubling that.
Right, so everybody's tax bills would double.
it's a hypothetical that we are not going to do.
I would rather,
But if we were to finance it, what I'm thinking about is borrowing costs over the long term, as they may or may not have talked about. But that, we should talk about that because of the uncertainty of the situation regarding what they may or may not become available from the FDA or the
USDA.
USDA, sorry. The USDA and the various low interest federal loan programs. How do we-
Well, just for the audience here, here's what we're talking about. The fire department would like to borrow $16,784,600. There is a possibility, although it seems increasingly unlikely, that we could borrow from the United States Department of Agriculture at a favorable rate, 4.25% currently, for a term of 40 years. That is a limited sum of money that is available in the program and evidently is being reduced as we move forward. Or we can go into the private market, which is currently at 5.5% and 30 years. So there's a difference in the total number that's going to be paid, obviously.
no, not the total amount, actually, when you do the analysis, the 30-year spends less total money than the 40-year.
Okay, you told us you were going to do that analysis. Can you tell us about it now?
I can. I get myself to the right place, I can, otherwise. Looking at the 425 versus the 30, and understand that we can't get all of the $18 million in the USDA. They will only pay for construction costs. So the 1,000,003 feasibility and design, we would have to go out to the public market and pay the 5.5 over 30 years.
Haven't we already secured the
Pardon?
loan? Haven't we already secured the loan for the 1.3?
We've secured a short-term ban, a bond anticipation note. We need to move that to permanent financing. Otherwise, you would pay
Okay.
it off in 5 years, which I don't think we want to do. I would not recommend it. So you will convert the 1.3 to a long-term loan. And again, going out to the open market, that will be about 5.5%. That's what the current rate is, and it would be 30 years, according to state regulations. And doing that, you will spend, and I'm going to be throwing around a lot of numbers, so I'll try to do it slowly and summarize. The combination of a USDA loan and a 1.3 commercial loan will,
1.3? 1.3 million, got it,
that combination
okay.
requires a total expenditure of 34.9 million. If we went straight commercial for the 16 million, actually for the 18 million, excuse me, because in that case, we could incorporate the 1.3 in the construction loan. And that would require a total expenditure over 30 years of 32.9 million. So there's almost a $2 million difference with the commercial loan in total being less than the USDA loan. However, that doesn't address the fact that the average bill that has to be paid, the average amortization for 40 years is 800,000, and for the 40-year is almost $1 million. And this is particularly true in the first 10 years, where the combo USDA commercial, the average bill debt amortization is 948,000, call it 950, whereas the commercial loan for that first 10 years averages 1,036,000. The difference in tax rate would be 42 for the combination, 42 cents on the $1,000 value for the combination loan, and 46 cents per thousand in the 30-year. And that's a difference in actual terms for a homeowner of about $40. So it's coming down to the fact that they are, at the end of the day, very close,
Ray,
based on today's rates.
we had talked about, inquiring as to whether the USDA 40-year can be prepaid, meaning like anyone's mortgage. If you have a 30-year mortgage, you pay 2 extra payments a year and you reduce it to whatever.
I don't believe it can,
Do we know?
but I haven't confirmed that. Again, there are 2 different programs. The tower is under the community funding, and this is under a different program. They may have different rules, just as the water tower program allowed you to put in the design costs. This program does not, so there may be a difference on prepayment. I didn't confirm that.
Okay, for purposes of today, we can approve this Article 2 without resolving the issue we are discussing now, correct?
Correct.
Uh,
What is the actual amount now of Article 2?
$16,784,600. Is that correct with all updates?
Yes, that's the number I used for the analysis. Plus the 1,000,003 of design costs for a total of 18,084.
Does that go in this article?
I'm sorry,
Does that extra amount go in this article?
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Does it go in this article?
Yeah.
That is already in a separate article that was approved last year.
1.3 is approved already. We only have to approve the 16,784,600.
Okay.
784,
684,600.
Just to be clear, $16,784,600 is the correct number, right?
Correct.
And the issue that, we're discussing,
Is how you fund that.
and that will be resolved when?
When we actually sign a loan agreement.
So
Which and with any article that we've had a debt, including buying a truck, you never know exactly what the interest is going to be until you actually sign the note. And from the time of that approval to when you go to market to get that loan, interest rates could go up or down.
That is a good, point to remind, the villagers of, we will not know until,
We may not know until December, or November, December, what the final interest bill will be.
but the candidates we're looking at now are a somewhat unlikely USDA loan at 4.25% 40-year term, or a commercial rate 5.5% 30-year term.
With one amendment, remember the 1.3.
Yes,
Would be a commercial loan in combination.
right,
With the USDA loan.
yes. With that explanation, any other comments or concerns about Article 2?
No,
Okay, Article 3 is to raise and appropriate money to demolish and return to nature the Katuitt School building. We had originally put a number in there of 1.1 million, which is the number that was used in Article 1 at the special district meeting on May 4th, 2024. That was an estimate based on town of Barnstable, I won't say back of envelope, but not particularly detailed ascertainment of what it would cost to demolish the school. We have since then, just this Friday, had a presentation from Icon Architecture that looked at several different scenarios for either demolishing or rehabilitating the Katuitt School property, and the number for demolition, what I'll call the all-in number, was considerably higher. And if I could ask. who would
The
have
exact
access?
number for
1.8 and change.
Yeah, but if we have the exact number, that would be great.
1 million, excuse me. $1,862,000. I've rounded up to $200. I think it was 100 and some dollars,
Okay.
but I went to 200.
I would move that we increase the number in Article 3 from 1,100,000 to 1,862,000.
Second,
All in favor?
aye,
Aye,
we don't need to vote, there you go.
but there we go. Article 4 is citizens petition. It requests that a 4-month delay be interposed to any decision as to what to do with the Katuitt School property. And during that time, additional meetings take place to, as this says, include facilitated discussions regarding options for reuse and or disposition. This was a citizen's petition, and I understand, Charlie, that it received more than the required number of registered voters' signature to be on the warrant.
Yes, there were 13 registered voters
And-
certified by the register of vote.
And 10 are required.
Get 10 are required for the annual.
Okay, I have no further comment on that then. Any other comments?
There's a missing word, FOR, after in item A. Special district meeting called for that purpose.
Charlie, do you see that? It's the
Yeah.
second to last line.
Yes,
Okay. Can you make that change?
yes. These are already done it for me online.
I'm sorry, Charlie, I can't hear you.
Lisa had already done it for me on
Okay.
my copy.
Thank you. Article 5, any questions or comments? Oh, I need to go back to Article 4. I believe the consensus of the Prudential Committee is that we do not recommend Article 4.
Correct.
Yes,
Charlie, if you would so note.
Yes,
Article 6 establishes, well, it's already been established, transfer the sum of 45,000 to the reserve fund. Any questions or comments?
not for me.
No.
Article 7 relates to the finance department, funds the labor and salaries, and also includes $322,600 for remaining expenses. Ray, if you will,
I would add 5,000, make it 327,600.
There's a new number, they found that in the 7,000 band.
and that would be an estimated cost for revising our
Website management.
website management.
Or would you have
What did you
another
want me to
question?
speak to, either the salaries or the other, both? What, speaking about the salaries, what we have done is, provide a 5% increase. But we have adjusted the hours. The, assistant treasurer will become full-time. And because of the debt workload, I've added hours to the treasurer. Something like going from 12 to 16 hours a week. In the-
Okay, go ahead.
In the other expense category, the major change is in the bond transfer agent. I this morning received the actual estimate from our consultants about issuing a ban with an amount over 500,000, which was 13,500. We'll be doing 2 of those the coming year. So therefore, I had to increase the bond transfer agent cost to 27,000. The other changes, insurance, based on the estimate from the agent, the property and liability goes up 3.4%. Workers' comp comes down about 14%. So we go from, for the combination of those, from 180 to, if you will, 180. But it's just moving, money from, workers' comp into property and liability. Payroll taxes go up, roughly 6%, and that's predicated on all the wage increases and hourly increases, and hour increases in all departments. Since we pay all payroll taxes out of the finance department. There are no capital items other than the demolish, which I put under the finance department of 1,862,000.
And then there is a suggestion that the 322,600 figure be increased to 327,600.
With a line item on,
No,
Website.
327.
Bond transfer agent is increased.
I'm sorry, we're talking over each other. Now we're talking about a bond transfer agent.
no, that was what he was just talking about. And then you and I started talking about the addition for the website
Right,
services.
right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, we do not have that. You wanted that as an article?
No, we don't want it as a separate article. We want to add $5,000
To our budget.
to the 322,600 number.
As a line item for 5,000,
5,600.
yeah. To increase our operating budget from 322,600 to 300,
34,000,
Yeah, because
34,000.
you're already adding that 7 for the
Yeah.
bond thing.
Yeah.
So it'll
Okay,
actually be
so
the total of 12.
now I'm confused. The 322,600 number did not include the bond.
Correct, it is now 329 operating expenses.
Yeah.
And now you're adding another 5,600 for a website.
No, 5,000. There's 600 already is there. So we're adding 5,000. So I have come up with a total of 34,600.
Beautiful.
And for a total, total for that article of $493,950.
With Article 7.
Correct.
Any other comments on Article 7? Article 8 is the fire department's budget, which includes $2,424,000 and $2,424,021 for labor and salaries. And $400,154 for the remaining expenses. For a total appropriation of $2,824,175. Just to note that this does not include retirement benefits.
No. Retirement or current benefits.
Any comments on Article 8? Article 9 is the water department budget, which is $517,141 for labor and salaries. And $420,365, there's a typo there. For remaining expenses, we've got 0.00.00. You see that, Charlie?
Yeah.
Any other comments?
No.
Article 10 is to purchase a new service truck for $75,000 for the water department. Any comments there? Hearing none. Article 11 is $60,000 for hardware, software, and related expenses to provide cybersecurity. This is from the water commissioners. Any comments?
No.
Article 12 is $20,000 for the replacement of the water department office HVAC system and related expenses. Any comments? Hearing none. Article 13 is $3,500 for the replacement of the office printer and copier at the water department. Any comments?
I thought we just did this a couple of years ago. Replace the copier?
Perhaps it's not working anymore.
Okay. That's fine.
Article 14 relates to Freedom Hall, $6,212 for labor and salaries, $21,180 for remaining expenses. Any comment?
Typo, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Article 14 has a typo under the total. It should read $27,392.00. You'll make that change, Charlie?
Yes.
Article 15 relates to the streetlights, and a budget number of $10,700. Article 16 relates to the Katuitt Library, and the number is $27,583. Any comments?
No.
Article 17 relates to the payment of principal and interest in the amount of $554,600. Comments? Hearing none. Article 18 is for employee current and post-employment benefits in the amount of $1,075,444. And Ray, you will have at the meeting how that breaks out by Prudential, fire, and water.
Yes.
Thank you. Article 19 it calls for the transfer of $35,000 to the stabilization fund. Any comments?
No.
Hearing none. Article 20. $46,420 for the water department stabilization fund. Any comments? Article 21 relates to the amendment of bylaws. I thought we had discussed this, but perhaps someone can refresh my recollection.
Fran suggested it. He said that we could offer an amendment to the bylaws without bylaw committee meeting. But you would, or who was it that said that they wanted it to go through the bylaws committee?
Charles is.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
the Prudential Committee is allowed to suggest bylaw changes.
And then we voted on it.
We're also allowed to not put suggestions from the bylaw committee on the agenda,
Right.
on the warrant.
okay. I'm gonna abstain on this one, but I think that's what I did at the last meeting. If I didn't, I do so now, but it passes. And so we are finished with our review of the articles in the warrant. And I would ask for a motion to approve the warrants in total as amended in our discussions at this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous. Candidates night is on the agenda. When is candidates night, Ms. Zace?
What time? Tuesday, May 20th at 7 o'clock in Freedom Hall and by Zoom,
Tuesday, May 20th,
7 o'clock
7 a.m.
PM.
PM. Thank you. No one's gonna make that. And I believe you had a request for the committee.
Wanted to request that we be able to use this Katuitt Fire District Zoom link because we'd like to offer a Zoom component. And since it is Katuitt Fire District business with budget and candidates, we hope that that would be considered. The Civic Association does not have a Zoom.
What do you usually do? Just do it in person?
In the past, we did it in person until COVID, then we did it only by Zoom. Up until last year, and we only did it in person, and we got requests to still have a Zoom capability, a hybrid meeting, so we'd like to try and do that. I also asked the church if we could use their hall, but it was not available for that Tuesday night, so I've exhausted all alternatives, but since it is a Katuitt Fire District meeting, that we're hosting, I hope that we could consider using it. We have very good tech people that can do sign-ons and
What'd you
everything.
do during COVID?
Um,
Zoom wise, what'd you use?
I think Jim Danhauser had his own account.
Thoughts, issues, concerns?
I don't mind. But
I can assure you, I'm feeling technically inept with it and with a big crowd,
Right.
so I would.
now,
Make sure that there is someone better than I. To do.
Dave Fraggle, who's a board member of the association, is very tech savvy and can manage it.
As long as we're not,
We have to forward to the fire department because it's their, Gmail account and they have to share passwords and all that kind of stuff.
let's ask the chief.
yeah,
I see him.
Lisa, we're not gonna room you into this, other than if you would facilitate by asking.
It's right here. You want to ask him?
Well, he's in there.
Oh,
The man in the vicinity.
Although it's touched on. Maybe, oh,
There he is. Would you comment on that, chief?
Yeah, whatever you need, I'll help out with.
okay,
Thank you.
sounds good.
Currently, somebody has fooled around with this. I don't know how they got it or what they did.
This being,
This being able to connect to, up there.
okay, well, they'll figure that out.
Objective,
They'll figure out either that or the big change.
because, you don't want it, but the first time this happened, which was 2 seconds after it was installed, somebody took the flagpole
Okay, fine.
with the pointer.
They're not.
Somebody took the flagpole with the pointer and put that up against the projector and started it that way, because they didn't have the remote. Cost $500 to get it fixed.
No one can hear you, friend.
It cost $500 to get that fixed.
no good deed goes unpunished. Then I'm gonna ask Chief Brown and Ms. Zace to coordinate directly on this topic.
I'd be delighted to do that.
Will that work for you, Lisa? Sounds good.
Thank you.
That exhausts our agenda except for public comments.
I do not see any hands raised.
Charlie has a comment, I hear.
Oh, no, I was scratching my head.
Okay.
Sorry.
Perfect. Any other public comments by Zoom or in person? No?
Are we gonna go down to our next meeting?
Yes, thank you. Let's take out our calendars. It has been pointed out that our typical meeting date is gonna be Memorial Day. We are going to, invite the auditor to make a presentation, which Ray believes should be done before the annual meeting, I believe.
We can do it afterwards. It wasn't anything, unusual about the report. But I think it's always nice to have it done, since we put in the annual report that it's posted on the web, so it would be good if the committee had heard from him before that. And if you had any questions, he would be able to address them.
Should we make it Monday, May 19th? Are people available then?
Sounds good to me.
I won't be available on that day.
Okay.
Maybe we can get, Jennifer to do it.
Okay. Ray, can we ask you to invite the auditor for Monday, May 19th at 6 p.m. here at Freedom Hall?
At 6 o'clock on Monday.
Yes.
We'll meet back at that meeting, so for you, because you will be at budget again night, the next night. Just FYI.
Can you speak up here?
If you hold that meeting on the 19th, just be aware that the next night is candidates and budget night, and Ray presents the budget that night. And none of you are running for re-election, so you'll have back-to-back meetings.
Yeah.
The 19th and 20th.
Yeah, just FYI.
Okay, I think that exhausts the agenda. I see that Ms. Gonzalez has already put together the meeting minutes for April 25th, 2025, which is record time. But we haven't had a chance to review them yet, so I thank her for that, but we will review and approve if appropriate at our meeting on Monday, May 19th. I think without any additional public comment, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.